Oh, hey, Heath. What are you doing here? Heath. Hey, buddy.
Oh,
Hey.
Andrew, my friend. Sorry, I was just brushing up on my Greek literature. The muse himself, Homer's The Odyssey. Have you heard of it? Doubt you have.
Yeah, I've got my own copy here, too.
By the muse herself. Welcome to your future presentation.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Why don't we just wait here for a little while?
Do you want to know what it is?
There's no knowing where you might be swept off to.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
Shepherds we shall be, for thee, my lord, for thee.
I don't know. I'm making this up as I go.
There's a special rug in hell reserved for people who waste good scotch.
He peed on my rug!
He peed on the dude's rug.
Do your worst.
Final report. The commercial starship Nostromo.
Roads, where we're going, we don't need roads.
Sing to me of the man, muse, the man of twists and turns, driven time and again off course. Once he plundered the hollowed heights of Troy. Many cities of men he saw and learned their minds. Many pains he suffered, heartsick on the open sea, fighting to save his life and bring his comrades home. But he could not save them from disaster. Hard as he strove, the recklessness of their own ways destroyed them all. The blind fools, they devoured the cattle of the sun. And the sun god wiped from sight the day of their return. Launch out on their story, muse, daughter of Zeus. Start from where you will. Sing for our time too. Welcome to your feature presentation, the podcast, where we bring you The Odyssey, the latest and greatest movies in pop culture. We are talking about Christopher Nolan's new movie. He's doing The Odyssey by Homer. Wow. Are you ready for this? I don't know if I am.
Yeah, honestly, that's a curveball to me. I'm like, really? You go time travel, backwards, forwards, Tenet movie to The Odyssey. Well, actually, Oppenheimer was between that and The Odyssey, right?
Right. We're going to talk a lot about this today. I'd love to start off with just the book itself and then kind of get into kind of more of the Christopher Nolan aspect. So I jokingly was like, I'm going to do one up on Andrew here, and I'm going to bring out The Odyssey by Homer. And I did not know. Obviously, that was a bit. Sorry to break that glass, but that was a bit. I didn't know you had a copy either. So have you read the Odyssey?
Yeah, I have read it. And I have my special edition Easton Press The Odyssey leather bound, gold embossed.
Beautiful.
Like the pages are gold foil. It's a great copy. It's a beautiful copy.
Yeah.
It's really hard to read.
Yes,
yeah.
it's extensive. I remember reading this in literature class in college, and I thought it was really cool because we had that teacher that I think he really got me into a love of books again, because I think sometimes, especially in college, you have to read so much and you kind of lose some of that love of reading because you just have to do so much, and it's like boring things sometimes. And like, man, he really just inspired me to be like, there are good books out there. I remember that's when I started picking up like the Silmarillion again, of like, hey,
Yeah.
read for enjoyment. And it's such a deep world. So, I mean, The Odyssey is such a classic story. They talk about it's one of the oldest written stories that we still have in existence.
Mm-hmm.
And it is an amazing story. If you've seen the movie Troy, that's part of this storyline. So where Odysseus, played by our Sean Bean, our Boromir. I forgot Boromir's name because I'm so
Sean
in the
Bean.
world of the Odyssey. He's in that movie as Odysseus,
Yeah.
and basically the majority of the Odyssey takes place of his journey to try to return home after the events of the fall of Troy. So you've read this book. Like, what is your kind of thoughts on it?
Yeah, so the version that I read, there's so many different versions, as you said, it being like the oldest, if not one of the oldest, collected stories that we have. The version that I had was a really good attempt, and I think they succeeded and keeping a lot of the Greek idioms, figures of speech, all that kind of stuff, and the rhyming, because the whole thing is a poem. Each book is a poem. There's 24 books in the whole Odyssey collection, if you will. And so like this line here, still laboring on till scarce at last we found great Jove propitious in our conquest crowned. And it's like, this is intense. Like, this is English, but it's not the English that I'm like used to. So while it's a big book, and it is really fun to read, it takes a lot to like translate all of these words, because that one was translated by like Alexander Pope or somebody like that, and he kept all the rhyming with it, so he found different synonyms. So my read was a challenge, but it was really fun.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there's quite a few. It's funny because it's as old, and so it's kind of like the Bible, where there's multiple translations, and it's more on literate. My gosh, what am I? It's more literal.
like genre or style,
like more literal, like, or is it more poetic? So there's like interpretation
I see.
what these should be in like modern settings. So it does get you deep, which I appreciate, because I took, did this lit class on it. And so mine's translated by Robert Fagles. And I think that's kind of like, I don't know anything about the translation, but basically this is someone with a doctorate was like, this is a good translation, at least, so I appreciate that. But man, there's a TV miniseries that was my first introduction to the Odyssey. And that was the first time. Yeah. It's like a 97, I believe, like they call it like a TV event, and it goes through Odysseus. And it's basically like he's cursed by the gods to not return home. So he goes through all these different trials and like just different destructive things, like just like the sea, or he's captured by like a cyclops, like all this kind of like Greek mythology. And it's kind of cool because if this is just one stint you take into like this Greek mythology, you get so many different tastes of it, just like the gods and the war with the gods and just like the Titans and just all this mixed. And it's just like, this is such a cool story. And we really haven't, the Troy, the movie, is really the last time anyone even touched this subject matter. And there was actually rumors that was going to become a movie, that they were going to follow Sean Bean to do a kind of more,
that would have been really cool,
Troy, Lord of the Ring vibe adventure. So that didn't happen, and now we're getting this. So yeah.
Man, I think that my initial reactions to hearing about it, because first time I heard about it was you in prep for this episode. I think Christopher Nolan can do really well with this. I am worried about a few things. Maybe we'll get to them later. So we'll stay hopeful for now. I think he could do really well with this, especially with his like historical fiction, historical take on Oppenheimer. Like, seems like he really handles those things well. And so it'll be interesting for him to take not a story that he's made up and written, like Interstellar or Tenet, but to take a different work and an ancient work and like extrapolate it into a movie that still is Christopher Nolan's movie. Like, you're going to look at it and know, yeah, this is a Nolan movie. So I think it'll be really cool to see like how he puts his like little flavor on it. And the casting looks great.
Yeah, actually, I'd love to go over the casting real quick as well. So This is a 2026 movie release. So I believe this is what we know at this point. But so Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, Zendaya, Lupita Nyong'o, Robert Pattinson, and Charlize Theron. So this is the cast.
Yeah.
I mean, it is an impressive cast. And what I love about Christopher Nolan is he gets people that he likes to use, and they are great actors. So Tom Holland, maybe Charlize Theron. I'm trying to think of people who he hasn't used. Oh, and Lupita Nyong'o.
Oh,
But I mean,
Zendaya as well.
yeah. So I guess. Oh yeah, she's never been in a Nolan movie. But so, Anne Hathaway, Matt Damon, Robert Pattinson are definitely some of his characters. And I think it's cool because the Matt Damon has never starred in a Nolan movie. And so the idea is that he is Odysseus, that Matt Damon is playing our Odysseus.
That would be so good.
My first thought is him with long hair, and that makes me think of when he pretended to be Loki in that play for Ragnarok, was it?
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Like his Matt Damon, I can't think of a like period piece that he's done. Well, I guess Oppenheimer would be that, but I'm talking about like, sword and sandals type of thing, because he was in that that Dragon Wall movie. The Wall, is it called The Wall? It's just like, yeah. Yeah, so like, excuse me, sorry. That gave me definitely some like, is that what we want to see? But man, talk about a director that kills everything he does. And these actors are amazing. And we joked about it too, but definitely Christopher Nolan for me is one of those actors that I stop like watching the trailer, because I'm like, I don't need to see it. I'm in. I'm already in.
Mm-hmm.
And so the casting has me excited because I know that he can do great things with those actors. There's great characters from this book. And so to me, I'm just like, I think this is going to be amazing. I think this is going to be the event movie next year, and I think he's going to crush it. I think with the casting, I do feel like a bit of like in Nolan We Trust. Is Matt Damon the first thing that popped into my head for Odysseus? No, but he knows these actors. He knows what they can do, and I think he's going to do great with it.
Yeah, I mean, Cillian Murphy was a side character in some Nolan movies, or one, was it? Before he was Oppenheimer, and that was one of the best movies of the year. So I think I agree with you. In Nolan We Trust, because he's worked with him, and I think that when you're that gifted of a director, you can like see nuggets of an actor's performance and be like, no, they got it. Which is really weird of me to say. Like I'm talking like Matt Damon isn't one of the best actors ever.
Right.
Maybe I'm being a little bit aggressive about that. Let me backpedal. Matt Damon is a very good actor. There we go.
Yeah, it is so funny. Like we're both of us, we're so passionate about movies. Like I feel like you can really easily get into your own
get carried
head.
away.
Just like, oh, Matt Damon sucks. He The Wall, that's who we're getting for the, it's like, go back to your zoo, Matt Damon, But I think, yeah, it's just like, to me, I choose to believe this. I think it's true that like the director is so influential on the quality of the movies. I would take over a book adaptation or acting. The director to me really seems like, if you like this director, that's the type of movie you're going to enjoy. And Christopher Nolan, I mean, what has he done that's wrong? I think most people would say maybe like The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
But I still think
Interstellar sucked.
But like I have my own opinions on it, but Tenet was, I think, a little bit too convoluted for me. But I think that's just me. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think there's so much. I mean, we did a whole episode on Interstellar, you know, and Oppenheimer was a movie of a year, if not a decade. So, and I was thinking about this too. Do you think Christopher Nolan? Do you think it's gonna be difficult for him to jump around or not jump around? You know, are we gonna get another? Is the story gonna be all chopped up, different timelines? In this, do you think?
No, I think that his ability to make a movie like Tenet, which literally makes sense, like if you can track it, if you are able to pay attention close enough, everything makes sense. And someone who has like the brain map to do that crazy stuff, they have like Nolan has the plan. He's got the best plan, and he's gone over it over and over and over again with like so much. He's got it down to a science to like iron out all the wrinkles. So like to your point about directors making movies, like this is everything about the movie. How many times have you seen an absolutely star-studded cast like be the backbone of a movie for a director who isn't good, and then the whole thing just falls apart and flops? I would watch a Nolan movie with actors that I have never even heard of, and I would still go see it because I know that he has such a well thought out plan. I'm not worried about him like jumping genres, like trying to do anything really super weird and crazy. Yeah.
And I think this does seem a bit out of left field for his style. I mean, World War II or World War One.
World War II
was
for Dunkirk.
Yeah, was that too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I always get confused because the British, I feel like, are always. I get distracted because if I see an American soldier, like a
British are coming,
World War II, like American soldier, I feel like I'm thinking Normandy and that kind of stuff. And I feel like whenever it's British centered, I always feel like it's more trench warfare. Like, I don't know why. It's like if I see British first, then it's World War I.
The trenches. You're in the trenches, buddy.
Okay. Tolkien has trench foot somewhere, and he's writing The Lord of the Rings currently because this is World War I.
You're right.
Yeah, to me, it doesn't freak me out a lot. I think if you were saying somebody is making an adaptation of the Odyssey, a well-known director that you like, I would guess Ridley Scott, because that is such that. Oh, that
you're
is
absolutely right.
Such his thing, and I think what you'd say about it is the movie is going to look awesome and probably not be great because unfortunately, our boy Ridley, you've given us some of our favorite movies of all time. We're talking directly to you, Mr. Scott. I just feel like you need to retire, man. I think your time has come.
We've progressed very far.
I mean, the dude's in his 80s, and it's so cool that he's still wanting to make movies, but it's just like, I don't think we're going to get any more great Ridley Scott movies, but he's already giving us so many.
Man, I feel like Adam Driver has this propensity to working with incredibly amazing directors, and for some reason they just do him dirty. Or maybe he's just super into conceptual movies that like don't make sense, because The Last Duel did not do well. I liked it, but like Adam Driver and Matt Damon, I don't know, or like Megalopolis, haven't seen it, but that, from my understanding, was a whole hodgepodge, like mix up. So director vision is super important, but there are some actors like Adam Driver who just, I feel like, are pulled to directors who like kind of have lost it a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, definitely. I think Adam Driver is probably one of the best actors of his generation.
Yes.
But I don't think...
And then he gets a movie like 65 million or something.
Yeah.
Like, God, buddy, come on.
And I think he's not going to be great until he accepts that he was in Star Wars. Because I think he is such a guy that's like, I'm over that. Yeah. It's like, dude, Harrison Ford went through this. Leonard Nimoy went through this. You got to come back and say, I love that I was in that. I'm not saying he needs to be in another Star Wars movie. I'm just saying I think he won't be complete until he's like, you know what? Star Wars was a great opportunity for me. I'm glad I was in that. Until he comes back to that, I don't think he can move past it. It's like, dude, get over your ex. She's gotten over you.
I feel like a best friend who's not over his friend's breakup. Like,
That's how you
I'm
feel
not
about
over
Adam
the
Driver.
fact. Yes, I'm not over the fact that Adam Driver was in some of the worst Star Wars movies ever, and he did not deserve that.
Ugh. Okay, so the thing about
Anyway.
Star Wars to me, which
Back to the regular show. Star Wars.
I'm not going to talk about The Last Jedi. We've talked about this. We totally need to do a Last Jedi talk.
Yeah.
The thing I don't like about this current the prequel trilogy, I feel like it was such a weird point in time to jump in. I think we missed a lot of really cool stuff between Jedi and The Force Awakens. And to me, the first time I was like, I love what's going on is at the end of The Rise of Skywalker. Like, give me Rey and Kylo as a Force dyad. It's like, that's a great, fun movie. Let's go from there. Oh, he's dead. So.
And it's ruined.
Done.
And they kissed for some reason. They've never expressed that to each other.
And then he aggressively died. Kylo Ren's death after he kisses Rey is like, he was like, do you think the moment was like, I wanted to kiss this girl for so long? He kisses her and like, that was so bad. How do I get out of this? It was such a bad kiss. He's like, dead.
Rey's kiss that killed him.
Yeah. Rey.
I think that's headcanon now.
Yeah, it is. That kiss, the kiss of death. A really cool tidbit. Do you know that they got a recording of Alec Guinness and they edited it for him to say Rey, like the original, like in the Obi-Wan. I thought that was so cool. Such a fun little touch there. Cool. It's still Star Wars. I still like it.
Anyway,
Big Eye.
if Christopher Nolan signed up for a Star Wars movie, would you be scared?
A Star Wars movie? Wow, that is a question. Yes. I would be trepidatious.
Why would you be a little bit cautious?
I think for me, Star Wars has such a vibe to it. And I think we're seeing that now. I think so many of the new Star Wars and Disney era, it's not feeling like Star Wars.
Dude, Skeleton Crew is nailing the vibe right now.
Yes, they are. Yeah, they're definitely nailing it. So I think, to me, I would be nervous with Christopher Nolan just because he is such a director that's doing his own thing. I don't even want him to go back to Batman, honestly, because I feel like, dude, you do your own thing. Like, I think Christopher Nolan is thriving when he is doing his own thing. And even though this is a book adaptation with the Odyssey, it is such a wide open thing. He could do whatever he wants. He could write completely new dialogue for every single character, you know?
Yeah, no one would be upset.
Yeah. It's so I don't know. I think a Star Wars Nolan movie, you know, there are a lot of people want to see a Christopher Nolan James Bond movie. And I think that would be
I would eat that up.
Great. Yeah, what I saw is someone pushing a Henry Cavill 1950s James Bond Christopher Nolan movie. I'm like,
have you ever heard of The Man from U.N.C.L.E.?
Yep.
And
also Henry Cavill was in that movie.
That's Henry Cavill being a 1950s James Bond. Come on, people, let's get with the picture here.
And to me, that would be another thing that's like, there is a James Bond vibe, but it is such a looser it's not restrictive like Star Wars, I don't think, because there's been so many directors, actors. Like James Bond is such a loose feel that he could do whatever he wanted. He could do a time thing. He could do a movie in reverse. He could jump around. I don't think that would be as good in Star Wars. But I mean, Andor to me is something that I don't think really feels like Star Wars. It feels very different, I will say. But I think it's okay. Put your hypothetical gun down. We are on video chat too, so that would take a while to get to me.
We got flagged.
Yeah. I'm gonna see you as the gosh.
Well, I would be afraid of a Nolan Star Wars movie because the fan base would rip him apart for no good reason. Everyone would self-destruct. If every single Star Wars fan, this is how I feel about the fan base right now. If every single Star Wars fan loved the crap out of everything Nolan has done, because we do, if he signed on for a Star Wars movie, they would chew him up and spit him out. Like, would it work? No, he would still make the movie. Would it be great? Probably. But the fan base would, like, AI bomb it with reviews and just be little babies. And that's how I feel about everyone right now. I'm like, you're such a little baby.
I look at my son every day and I say that to him.
You say, you're such a little baby.
Now, to be fair, he's 7 months old, but I look at him and I have to get his attention. So I'll snap and like whistle, and then he'll finally like look up at me and I'll be like, you're a little baby.
His head's still like, yeah. He can't like focus on you.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, quit being such a baby.
Yeah, you're a baby. And he's like,
Yeah.
I know you have some struggles with the Star Wars fandom right now. I know you got I feel like Nolan fans and Star Wars fans have some overlap, but I'd be curious at how many there were, because I feel like if Nolan did a Star Wars movie, you would have a lot of Nolan fans supporting, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
What a bunch of nerds too.
Dude,
Star
can you
Wars
imagine?
fans and Nolan fans get in a fight.
Just a bunch of idiots. Can you imagine being nerdy? I would never.
I would never.
Anyway, do you want to see my mock Millennium Falcon made of Lego? It's right behind me.
Yeah, what a bunch of nerds. Let me grab my Halo battle rifle to show you this point.
Sorry, I think my lightsaber tipped over. Whoop.
So, circling back to the Odyssey,
Yeah.
do you want to see? Does it matter to you? Do you want to see a linear story from him? Or
I just see a linear story. Yeah.
a linear story?
I just see a linear story for sure. No. Sorry, was that not a funny joke? I thought that.
I didn't get it.
Instead of
I've been coughing so much, I'm still sick. So I was like, did I say it correctly? I don't know.
No, it doesn't matter. If you have to explain the joke, I want to see Odyssey. I want to see a linear story. My hopes are not for like, I think we need more than like just the boat journeys. Like he's going to have to tackle that in a really interesting way. It's like realistically, there's a lot of months and years spent at sea. So how do you pass that time and still convey that it takes 10 years for him to get home? Why is there an urgency for him to get home? If you know the ending, like how does he react to that? Is he going to take some liberties with that? Like, is he going to change the ending? Are we open to that? Those would be interesting things. I have one thing written down that I want to see so bad. Do you want to know what it is?
Yes, I'd love to.
Okay. I want to see Christian Bale come back in this movie to work with Nolan and be either Poseidon, who is like one of the major antagonists for Odysseus, or the Cyclops, like his son Polyphemus, the Cyclops. Yeah, Poseidon's son is the Cyclops guy that like captures Odysseus. So I want Christian Bale to be in a Nolan movie as a true antagonist, like a real villain. I think back to American Psycho, right, with Christian Bale.
Yeah,
he plays such a good evil guy, and we just kind of saturated and get used to Batman, Christian Bale.
Yeah.
And he just plays that like wicked, smart, evil dude really, really well. Or even him in that Thor movie. I feel like he was the shining star of that whole thing. And he was such a good villain, but it kind of got overshadowed.
That was that movie. I feel like that was such a. I wish that could have been fixed because it was so all over the place. Like it was like, man, that was a terrifying villain. Like
Yes.
in comics wise, and in Christian Bale's portrayal of him, and the other stuff was like slapstick, stupid.
It
Like
was so weird.
and it was like, what happened with that movie? Because I love Thor Ragnarok. It was really comedic. It was not serious, but it was good and it was epic. And like, if it's gonna be rock and roll, if it's gonna be WWE, make it fun and make me cheer for it. And I did. Like when Thor is like swinging his axe and like the Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin, it's like, let's go, But then Thor Love and Thunder, it just became nonsense against this super intense villain that was like, this is a terrifying villain. And it was just like such a bummer because I think there's a good movie in there.
Yes.
That's almost worse than that movie sucked. Let's move on. It's like, there's a good movie somewhere in there that just got lost.
Just got jumbled up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see Bale as a villain in a Nolan movie, and I hope he brings him on.
Yeah.
That'd be tight.
And I think that we're going to see a lot of that because this is, I think, every, I don't know, but, every island, every
Right.
section of the movie is a different obstacle for Odysseus. And that's a great time to bring in a bunch of people. And Nolan always does that. There's always surprise people that pop in, which is funny.
That's a beautiful thing that Nolan does,
Yeah.
is like the amount of small parts that incredible actors have.
Mm-hmm. And we talked about that before, but I mean, Matt Damon's, secret character in Interstellar was such an amazing part. And especially because someone like that shows up and you don't know who he is. You don't know like what side he's on, and I just think that is such a cool part for Nolan. And so it'll be cool that a bunch of people were joking that like this, Matt Damon is going to wait on him. He's going to be a secret cameo that'll pop in later and then like try to stop Odysseus. So it's kind of cool that he is Odysseus. What I also love about Nolan is we're not going to get a gratuitous cameo, because like if Ridley Scott did this, like we might see Jack Black as the Cyclops. You know what I mean? Like something like that. And it's just like,
Can you imagine?
that's all I can think about now because it popped in my brain, and I'm like,
I think I would love that.
dude, Odysseus, man, you got to get out of here. My dad's always ragging on me. My dad Poseidon. And it's just. And then he'd make a quip about
That's a good.
Minecraft because it's going to... Okay, Minecraft. We didn't really talk about it a ton. Do you think it's going to do well?
No.
I can't imagine it's going to. The only thing I was like, I think I was in college when the beta for Minecraft came out. I bought it as like, you buy a lifetime membership to this beta called Minecraft. I was there when it was written. You know what I'm talking about? But I acknowledge this, that Minecraft is not mine anymore because middle schoolers are still playing Minecraft. So I think my friends, the ones that grew up on Minecraft, my age, us ancient folk, for you, Andrew.
Yes, the oldies.
We're not going to go see Minecraft. People your age are not going to go see Minecraft. But maybe there'll be this surprising, like, middle school, high school wave of people to go see it. But I don't think so. I think it's going to crash.
I think they would have to pull some sort of like Super Mario Lego movie like trick where it's just hilarious, like genuinely funny movie. My wife and I watched that Mario Brothers movie, Super Mario, whatever it was called, I don't remember. We watched the Mario movie because we heard it was funny, and it was. We watched the Lego movie. Obviously, I like Lego, but not enough to like go see that movie. But I heard it was a riot, like super fun time. And so then I went to go see it. Like that's going to be the Minecraft movie. How do you make a movie funny? You have to have Jack Black in it.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Put Jack Black. Oh, actually, I love Jack Black. Don't get me wrong, but I was just like
Me
that
too.
trailer. I was like, this looks terrible, and I'm like, ugh. All right. Well, we're super pumped about the Odyssey. It's going to be amazing. 2026 is the last we heard, but it's not even in front of cameras yet, so take that with a grain of salt. We are so pumped. We should do something crazy with this movie. I'm calling it right now. Maybe this is another Studio Movie Grill type viewing. I don't know.
We have to go back to Studio Movie Grill
We do.
before the Odyssey comes out.
We do. We really need to. There's one in Chicago, and that's a lot closer
Dude,
to us than
that's like halfway between you and I.
yeah. If we both go the same direction.
Yeah, we just meet there.
All right. So you told me you prepared some of these. So I would love to shift into some hot takes.
Oh, brother, yes.
So I want to hear some Andrew hot takes. And how are you doing this?
I'm just gonna say some of them, and then when you try and say something in response, I'm gonna tell you to shut up.
Done.
I'm just kidding. I'm open to some thoughts, and I think that would be really fun. So, first one, Robert Pattinson, Rob Pat's Batman is the best Batman movie ever. Thank you for agreeing with me.
Yeah. I mean, I've always...
Oh, are you saying yeah?
I think so. I just I don't love Christian Bale's Batman. There's my hot take.
Me either. It's good, but
yeah.
it's not even close to
That's
great.
not why you watch those movies. I mean,
No.
the villains are why you watch Christopher Nolan's Batman. I mean, The Dark Knight, I'd say, is probably the best. I would say The Dark Knight is probably the best Batman movie, but then you're right. I almost would say you can't say it's a Batman movie. It's a Joker movie.
Yeah.
It really is.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So-
exactly.
Hot take allowed.
Accepted? Wow. Okay. So now it's a lukewarm take a little bit because you accepted. That's fine.
Here, we should do this.
Interest-
We should ham this up a little bit. So we should do like a little.
Okay.
We need to have like a little hot take chant, and then
Yes.
accepted or rejected. I'll say accepted or rejected after I
Okay,
hear it.
all right.
So okay.
Do it.
So you come up with a hot take or something stupid.
Oh, like a Hot Ones like little jingle.
I don't know that reference, but yeah, sure.
Oh, never mind. What do I say?
Just say it boldly.
Welcome to.
I didn't mean to trip you up. I just thought you should be like hot take.
I just.
Robert Pattinson's Batman.
All right, here we go. All right. Hot take. Interstellar is overrated.
Rejected.
All right. I don't like it that much. Truthfully, I think it's fine. Like
We talked about
probably,
it an hour and a half together, Andrew, and you don't
We
like
did.
it.
We did. Do you remember? It's a forgettable movie to me. I forgot the ending of it. I was like,
You didn't-
Why would they
You
do
didn't
that?
rewatch it, though. That's why you forgot.
That's true. That's true.
But-
I have rewatched it since then.
Okay.
Not great. It's fine. I think that the hype. We literally just talked about this. Nolan is terrific. All those actors are terrific. The written down story is good. Yeah. But just the expression of it, and I don't know if it is just because it's overrated that it's like a 6.5 out of 10 for me. Like it's really low.
Wow.
I know.
Is that
It
like your
suffers,
least
I think,
favorite
because
Nolan, you think?
absolutely 100%. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a hot take. You ready for another hot take?
Yeah.
Or you have some thoughts?
Nope, that's great.
Another hot take.
And you always
All right.
announce it. I love that.
Hot take. I have automatic respect for anyone who ranks A New Hope as their 5th or lower in their list of top Star Wars movies.
Rejected.
I knew you were gonna do that.
Reject.
It's one higher for me. I think it's my number 4 for Star Wars movies. I have to look at my list again. But anytime that I go through like a top 10 Star Wars, 10 down to 1, anytime that A New Hope falls at 5 or 6 or 7, I'm like, okay, I respect you. I think that's such such an intellectual decision, and I know that person has fought hard to not put that movie at number 1 or number 2. Because it's such a cop out. Like, come on, that's not the best one.
Dirty boy. Okay.
I know. I said these were hot takes.
They're hot takes. Hey, they're hot takes.
Getting Stevie.
No, I just like, I get it. And if that's not your favorite, you do you, boo-boo. But it's like, man, that's the original. That's what everything is based on. Like,
yeah, but it doesn't matter what it's based on. It matters where it goes.
So
and if it gets
I'm
better,
guessing,
because it does.
I'm guessing you put Rogue One above New Hope. Is that what you're doing?
I think so. Yeah.
Well, it's thank God this is a free country, or else you'd be dead.
I know.
Because I would kill you.
Or else I would be dead already. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Hot take. The Hobbit trilogy could have been good if they kept the vibe from the river scene through the whole thing. Because everyone... Oh, I'll let you accept, reject.
Reject.
Okay.
Can't.
Everyone always rags on that river barrel scene. I do too. It has no place in that movie. But the tone of the book compared to the tone of the Lord of the Rings book trilogies is silly. The Hobbit is pretty silly and it's fun. If they had kept the vibe of the dinner scene where the hobbits the dwarves are throwing the plates and balancing stuff and juggling, they kept that vibe, the vibe of the river where they're like in barrels bouncing around, rolling and smashing into orcs and stuff, I think it would have been better.
I will say too that thank God this is a free country, because you'd be dead.
But this is the last thing I'll say about it, because those scenes still exist. When they fall down the goblin cavern on all the scaffolding, that is silly as heck. That's the silliest thing I could ever imagine. But it's in a serious war movie. Like, they're trying to match the vibe of Lord of the Rings, but silly stuff gonna happen. It's The Hobbit. So there you have it.
I think I hear you, son, and I totally
And
get.
you hate me.
And get out of my house. I get the idea that the mixing of like I don't even
It's a
know what
whole
I wanna say.
vibe shift. The vibe shifts so hard.
The chaotic, all over the place nature of the Hobbit movies hurts it for sure. And I think they would definitely be better movies if they had stuck to one or the other. My struggle is, though, the serious Lord of the Rings scenes are my favorite in those trilogy. Like,
I agree.
So I feel like if you had gone straight barrel scene through the whole movie, you would have lost like the Riddles in the Dark is one of my favorite scenes in all of like the Lord of the Rings,
all of those movies,
The Hobbit in general. It's just like scenes like that. I think there is a lot of good in The Hobbit, and it's tough because I tell people I can never accurately rate The Hobbit because it is such a beloved fandom for me. Same thing with Star Wars. I'll say that too. Like, am I the most accurate on rating Attack of the Clones? No, because I saw it when I was 12, and I loved it. And so it's just like, I have opinions about it now, but I'll always love that movie, and I'll always say it's a good one. So I hear your vibe check, but I think if you had kept that, you'd lose a lot of good too. So
All right. Okay.
that's why I reject. But these are your hot takes.
Respectfully, you're dumb.
Yep.
Next one.
I'm gonna kill you.
I'm just kidding. Last hot take. Hot take. Luke should have stayed with Yoda on Dagobah.
I don't know how to answer that, Andrew.
You accept or reject, Heath?
Say it again.
Luke should have stayed. This is Empire Strikes Back. Luke should have stayed with Yoda to finish his Jedi training on Dagobah instead of flying away to rescue Han and Leia on Bespin.
Is Empire the one with the pod racing?
What? Yeah, that's the one. Qui-Gon Jinn is a young boy who's enslaved on a planet called Tatooine. And
Yes.
Luke goes
And
to
then,
save
is that the one with the Enterprise D? Or the Enterprise?
Are you avoiding this question,
Yes.
Heath?
Okay, so here's my thing. I've never seen Star Wars. I don't know. I've never watched a movie. No, I think this is so hard for me because I'll reject. Okay, I'll say
Okay.
no.
All right.
Luke would have not been Luke if he had stayed, because his attachment to his friends are what makes him the hero. His attachment
Weak. Oh,
his attachment to his father is what saves his father. That's not the Jedi way. The Jedi way should not have been to go after, to get Vader to come back. It should have been like, as a Jedi, I'm going to emotionlessly take you out. I think that's what the old Jedi code would have said. And so
that's what Yoda was up for. He was like, no emotion.
Yeah.
And Luke is like, no, there's another way.
Yeah. There's another.
Okay. So then Yoda is just a garbage Jedi master. Hot take. Yoda is a garbage Jedi master.
I mean, Andrew, who's your favorite Jedi? He is not the Jedi master that they revered. He's the one that they didn't allow in the council. Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah, that's why I like it.
Right. No, I'm saying like that is your example, I think, of a good Jedi master. I would agree. I think Yoda and Obi-Wan, especially Mace Windu, are stuck in the dogmatic, narrow view of the Jedi.
Dude, we're on to something.
Yeah. I think there is a super interesting cut of the prequels, the idea of if they'd shown the Jedi from a power-hungry, usurping side.
It's such an easy thing to sell. Yeah.
And I think it's
That makes so much sense.
I mean, Qui-Gon Jinn, they had a huge fight on this on Rebel Force Radio, which I loved. Mace Windu stages a coup. And it's like, now we are like, as Sith are evil, we're on board with it, but it's still a coup. They are taking over the government. So like, there is an edge there where like Mace is not even touching the dark side, but they're like, well, you don't know. It's like, that's the problem with every tyrant in history. They think they know the way. They're not evil in their own eyes. They're not mustache twirly villains.
Yep. And like, honestly, the whole downfall of the Jedi, thanks to them blinding themselves to the Force, and the true nature of the Force, I think you can see that still in Yoda in Empire. When he's talking with Luke, he's like, you cannot leave. We have to finish your training. Luke is like, no, literally the only people in the whole galaxy that mean something to me are in danger. and I'm going to save them. I agree that's the heroic thing, and I think you're swaying me that it is best that Luke would leave. But now I think you're swaying me the other direction of me being anti-Yoda, of like, man, Yoda just doesn't get it.
I think you're right. I mean, I think there is a lot that he was blind to. I mean, he led the Jedi to failure. I mean, really.
Yeah.
I mean, they failed. And I think Yoda, I love how in-depth this conversation got. It's delighting me. But I think there's room, I think, for Yoda to be correct, because his training wasn't complete, and he wasn't saying, don't go save your friends. He was saying, you're not ready to face Vader.
And he wasn't.
And so I think there is room to be like, Yoda was right, but I think Luke would not be the hero that he became if he wouldn't have gone. I think that would have been a betrayal to his character, which is why I think I am so upset that the Luke Skywalker we got in The Last Jedi, because that is not the Luke Skywalker that would disobey the Jedi Council, Master Yoda, to go save his friends.
Right. He doesn't leave his people. He does everything he can for his people. Yeah. Yeah, those are my hot takes, man.
Dude, those are
You turned me on one of them. I liked that. You turned me.
I have turned you to the light side of the Force.
Yes.
Well, I think I love how I knew the argument that was going to get you is, what side would your boy choose? Would Qui-Gon say Luke did the right thing? I think so.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
And here's another.
Sure.
This is not really a hot take. Here's what's my segment going to be called? Heath statement. Something real cool like that, right?
Heath says,
that if Qui-Gon Jinn had been able to train Anakin, I think he would not have turned to the dark side.
100%.
Yep.
Ring-a-ding, you got it.
I
think that's the whole point.
Ding.
That's why I'm preaching to the choir. That's why it's the Duel of the Fates. That's why Phantom Menace matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why the Emperor won at the end of the Phantom Menace, because he got rid of the master that would have been the good master to steer Anakin to, because that's what's wrong with the Jedi, right? Is they were becoming so detached. It was formulaic. It's just like, nope, send 2 Jedi Knights out to fix this issue. No attachment whatsoever. And it's just like, no, we need attachment. We need to care about the people we are serving. And I think that was
to care about the galaxy.
Yeah. And Obi-Wan is a great Jedi. I love Obi-Wan, but he is too stuck in those old ways, I think. I don't think he was.
Yeah, he's a big rule follower. Yeah. I think Obi-Wan gets passionate. He lets himself feel the passions like Yoda, and I think Windu would maybe steer him against doing that. But I think he gets it from Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
Qui-Gon shows him, like, there's a lot of heart in us. So Obi-Wan feels the passions, but he also feels the pull of the code. And I think that's ultimately his struggle in trying to train Anakin is like, I feel for this young boy, and I feel his passion, and I connect with it with myself. But when we come back to Coruscant and we go back to the Jedi Temple, and I present him in front of the council, like, he does not put that passion away, and Obi-Wan's able to do that. So
yeah. I think we should talk about Star Wars.
You're sorry.
We got to do a movie talk on it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, sweet, man. That was great. I appreciate your hot takes. That was a delightful little segment there.
Anytime.
We're going to keep it. Get us another list. We'll keep going through there.
I will.
That's all we've got for today. We're really excited about the Odyssey coming out, and there's going to be some pretty fun movies coming out this season. We'll see how Snow White does, things like that.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Take us home. All right, no, don't take us home yet. Let me say this. Let's talk about your cool hat. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Your feature presentation, logo and
Bing
all.
bong.
Bing bong.
Yeah, it was a wonderful, beautiful Christmas present from my wife. And
I forgot how we used to say that all the time. My wife.
huge surprise. Yeah, I love those types of gifts that like you get them and you're like, oh, I needed this. I love this so much. So got a nice little logo there.
Sweet.
Yep.
Awesome.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. You can subscribe on YouTube. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Spotify. Stay up to date with our releases and interact with us on social media. Keeps conversations going. And maybe you can draw our attention to a topic that you'd like to hear us discuss. As always, go see a movie.
Go see a movie. And also, comment. Favorite Nolan movie. Let's hear him.
Oh, yes. Lay them on me and tell me why Interstellar is your least favorite.